consumers were established. One of them, enacted in Massachusetts in 1785, reads in part, "If any person shall sell any diseased, corrupted, or unwholesome provisions, knowing the same without making it known to the buyer, he shall be punished by fine, imprisonment, or by standing in the pillory." A century later, in the 1880s, the modern American consumer movement had its beginnings. Swept along by the social upheavals of the Industrial Revolution, we became a country whose gross national product expanded within a decade by almost half again. Newly patented harvesters and combines were able to bag 450 pounds of grain every minute. Packaged cereals appeared for the first time. The Industrial Revolution's machinery helped mass produce ivory soap. It enabled such brands as Nabisco to establish a mass market. The transcontinental railroad networks opened a national market to food processors and meat packers. But the packers and canners' grasp of the principles of food preservation and bacteriology was still primitive. Little did families of the time know that formaldehyde was frequently used to preserve meats, while canned peas were doused with highly toxic copper sulfate to simulate the look of freshness at the dinner table.
In the general store, ways of buying for the home changed. Industrial technology had transformed the basic routines of daily life. Instead of seeing, feeling, even tasting for freshness, we were now buying by brand. And what was behind that brand name? How good was it? What was inside? Who made it? Under what conditions? A man working an 18-hour factory shift, a child in a sweatshop, a woman at the loom doing piecework, all of them working for a boss that probably none would ever meet. What it meant to us as consumers, as families, was that we all faced a common difficulty: how to buy economically, efficiently, and safely. At this time, out of the industrial age, with its assembly lines and turbines, its cauldrons and crucibles, with its mass-produced goods, the leaders of a national consumer movement emerged.
Some of the first consumer leaders saw themselves as pioneers in the new science of home economics. Among them, Ellen Swallow Richards, the first woman admitted to and graduated from MIT. She became a chemist and an outspoken consumer advocate. "The methods of our mothers and grandmothers will no longer apply," she said. "They had no trouble with their soap, for they superintended its making and knew its properties. We buy everything and have no idea of the processes by which the articles are produced and have no means of knowing beforehand what the quality may be." The views of home economists appeared regularly in such magazines as Good Housekeeping, which in 1902 developed a seal for products it approved and advertised. Ladies' Home Journal introduced the money-back guarantee. Woman's Home Companion and Collier's declared war against what they called dishonest food. Among the most recklessly advertised and dangerous products were patent medicines. In an era in which some doctors were still indiscriminately prescribing bloodletting by leeches, patent medicines promised to cure everything from tonsillitis to typhoid. Many contained cocaine and morphine. Some not only failed to cure as promised, but were unsafe with disastrous results, including addiction and death. In the October 1905 issue of Collier's, the muckraking journalist Samuel Hopkins Adams wrote, "Gullible America will spend this year some $75 million in the purchase of patent medicines. It will swallow huge quantities of alcohol, an appalling amount of opiates and narcotics, and far in excess of all other ingredients, undiluted fraud." Stirred by such articles, many readers became activists in the first consumer groups. Attacking the problems of patent medicines and other dangerous products and the conditions under which they were made was the National Consumers League, the first national consumer organization, founded in 1899. Present member of the executive board of the National Consumers League, Carolyn Ware.
It was part of the social movement of the turn of the century, which was concerned with the social responsibility. And the emphasis was on the responsibility of the buyer and the user of products toward the people who produce those products. And so the conditions of manufacture, the conditions of industrial homework, the conditions of sweatshops, labor standards, these were the initial focuses of the National Consumers League.
An 11-year-old. He works 60 hours a week at the Pennsylvania Coal Company mine in Pittston. He has tuberculosis. A 15-year-old department store clerk. She earns $3 for 72 hours of work. A 12-year-old. She stands 60 hours a week at the weaving machines. She makes 75 cents a day. These conditions outraged and motivated the National Consumers League, whose members were mostly educated professional women, many from the middle and upper classes.